Hello fellow managers, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to list 10 midfield players you need in your team right now. Some of these players are insane Wonderkids and some of them are just crazy bargains. But before we move on, I'd like to quickly say a huge thank you for the recent support on the last few videos. I really appreciate it, and it would mean even more if you could hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. My goal is to get 500 subscribers before the end of June. So getting all the admin out the way and jumping to the first player on this list is Sergei Pinyev, who plays for Lokomotiv Moscow in the Russian First Division. He's a Wonderkid with the release clause of 5.7 million euros and an asking price of 3 to 6 million euros. He's able to play as an attacking midfield right or on the left, with his favorite roles being a winger on attack or an inverted winger on attack. He could also be developed as an advanced playmaker. With him only being 18 or 19 depending on your save, he can be molded into the exact right player you may be looking for. He's already got standout stats like his first touch, determination, flair, and some impressive physical stats too, namely his acceleration and agility. Moving on to a more central player with Oscar Zambrono, playing for Liga de Quito in the Ecuadorian First Division. Again, he's a young Wonderkid who can probably be picked up for very little. I'd say as low as 2 million euros. At first glance, Oscar may seem very underdeveloped, but I believe he can be the next Caicedo, as he's got the ability to play in DM or in the midfield center, with his favorite roles being central midfielder on attack and support. And even as a Mazzola, he may not have many outstanding stats, but again, being so young, he is truly an investment player. If you're looking for a little more stat-packed young DM, there's no other than Luca Lipani, who plays for Sassuolo in the Italian First Division. Young Luca can be picked up for 3 to 6 million euros. He may not look like anything special as a teenager, especially mentally. However, he has the potential to become one of the best CDMs in FM24. He has some balanced technical stats already, but he truly stands out in the air. He has 15 heading, 16 jumping reach, and stands at 6'4", with his favorite roles being roaming playmaker, deep lying playmaker, and central midfielder. If you're looking for someone to become the next Luka Modric with height, he definitely is one to consider. Now, Wonderkids are great and all, but let's step away from them for a second to consider Quinton Timber. Yes, that's right, Urian Timber has a brother who is as good and isn't going to break your bank account. He can be bought from Dutch First Division side Feyenoord for a fee of 10 to 15 million. Quinton is a ball-winning midfielder with pretty well-rounded and balanced mental and physical stats, which tie in perfectly with his favorable roles like a central midfielder, deep line playmaker, advanced playmaker, and he can even be turned into a decent carrilero. I think he can definitely be the player to take your team from mid-table to title challenges. Now for the next player. He is someone who is for those managers that like versatility and who like playing a similar style of football to Xabi Alonso or Inter Milan, or those teams who use a quote-unquote wingback. His name is Carlos Augusto, who plays for Monza in Serie A, and he can be acquired for anywhere in the region of 6 to 10 million. Looking at his stats, it's pretty well balanced across the board. Some standouts being his work rate, off the ball, movement, and bravery. He even has good pace and acceleration. Augusto can play as your standard left-sided defender, but he comes alive when deployed as a wingback, with his best role actually being a winger or defensive winger. He gives me Frimpong vibes and is very similar. For the sixth player on this list is someone who has already solidified their reputation as a world-class baller, and his name is Thomas Müller. Now you're probably wondering, how is this a bargain, or if he is even approachable? Well, yes he is, considering he isn't already moved on in your save. Müller's contract is expiring in 2025 and has a market value of 15 to 20 million. So if your club has a reputation needed for Müller to be interested in moving, he may be a steal. He offers outstanding mental stats and has great passing. He also has the ability to play anywhere in the top half of the pitch, with his favorable roles being wide midfielder on attack, deep lying playmaker, central midfielder, and he can even do a job as a poacher, target man, and so on. I truly think in the right place and time, he can be a killer bargain, and we all know what Thomas Müller can offer in your team. Staying in Germany, we go to Schalke to look at Hassan Ouedraogo. Schalke need to sell him because of their poor financial position, so he can be signed for about 7 million And looking at his stats, he is still quite young, so there definitely is room for improvement, but he already has standout stats that describe the type of player he is, with 15 flair and technique as well as great determination. Hassan likes playing in the middle of the park as a midfield centre or an attacking midfield centre, with his favourable roles being inside forward, winger, inverted winger and advanced playmaker. He seems to be a very good young and versatile player on the cheap. If you are one of those teams who were recently promoted to the top division, or if you're just struggling to get a hold of any points, you need players that are hardworking, determined and willing to run their socks off all game long. This is why Samu is one of the best options out there. His mental attributes are amazing, which includes 17 work rate, 18 determination and 17 aggression. He will leave everything out on the pitch. Samu only costs 1.7 million and he can be signed on low wages from Portuguese side FC Vizela or in FM just Viz. He's such a risk-free signing that can make a big impact on your team. For the next player, let's go back to the exciting Wonderkids, more specifically DMs. We have, in my opinion, one of the most exciting DMs apart from Kobe Mainu, and his name is Lucas Grana Duath, who plays for RB Salzburg in Austria. I mean, like, just look at those stats. At just 19, give him a development season or two, he'll turn out to be a powerhouse in DM, although he might set you back 15 to 20 million, but he's totally worth it. His best roles can be a box-to-box midfielder to a deep line playmaker, to a Mazzala or to a register. The list just goes on. It just feels like a cheap man's Tchouameni. Speaking of Tchouameni, he rounds off our top 10. We probably didn't think Tchouameni would be available to sign, but he is. Real Madrid are willing to let him go for the region of 60 million euros, which is a bargain for any top team and is exactly the player you may be looking for to improve your midfield. He can play as your DM or be moved up to centre midfield, with some of his best roles being a ball-winning midfielder, defensive midfielder and even a halfback if you play that intricate pep ball. So let's have a look at his stats. It's so balanced on an elite level. He's actually one of the best players to sign in FM overall, making that price tag and probably salary worth every penny. That's it, managers. If you found this video helpful or you enjoyed it at all, please like and subscribe, as again I'm trying to reach my goal of 500 subscribers before the end of June. Good luck for your next games.